Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm Andrew Sumner, and I'm privileged on this episode to be joined by my friend and by the founder and editor of Hard Case Crime, the incredible Hard Case Crime imprint, my favorite books imprint, Mr. Charles Ardai. How are you, brother?
Thank you. I'm great. It's great to see you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's great to see you too, mate. It's great to see you too. And we're here to talk about something very special because out of all of the things that myself and my colleagues at Titan Books and yourself and your immortal Hard Case Crime imprint collaborate on, we're talking about something that's a slight departure, which is your all new series for Hard Case Crime comics, which is Gun Honey. What can you tell me? What can you tell me about Gun Honey?
So Gun Honey is going to start as a comic book series, and then in 2022 it'll come out as a standalone graphic novel. It's a 4-issue miniseries. It's about an international weapons expert, beautiful, talented, self-confident, strong. She will get you whatever weapon you need, when you need it, where you need it, no questions asked, and she's the best in the world at what she does. And I came up with the idea for this series, Gun Honey, which I wrote about 7 years ago, when we just began talking about doing comics as well as traditional prose novels at Hard Case Crime. And I promised Nick Landau, who runs Titan with Vivian Chung, I promised them that I would write a book for the series.
My boss, both of my bosses.
Your boss, exactly, and wonderful people. Yeah. And they were kind and let me do all my editing work on everyone else's books first before I finished the scripts for mine. So those came slowly. It took about 5 years to get the scripts written, and what they finally did. And then we hooked up with a truly fantastic artist, a young man named Ang Hor Kheng, based in Malaysia, which is where the character comes from. This character, Joanna Tan, lives in Malaysia and Singapore. She fled from Malaysia and Singapore to the United States as a refugee and then reinvented herself as this weapons expert. And I wanted to have an artist who could draw the flashback scenes to Joanna's upbringing authentically and make them look right. And having Ang in Malaysia do it guaranteed the authenticity. But apart from that, he's just an incredibly gifted artist. He draws like a young Frazetta. He does everything traditionally, actual pens, actual drawing boards, rulers, and none of this digital stuff that kids use these days. And it shows. The inking is gorgeous. The pencil work is gorgeous. And I also want to give a tip of the hat to Asifur Rahman, who did the colors. So it's going to be a terrific series, and I'm thrilled to see it come out.
Yeah, for sure. And you can pre-order Gun Honey from the links attached to this conversation, where you will also see some of the amazing artwork that's been created for this fine book. That's great.
Yeah, and we're working with a number of different cover artists. These are people that I've adored for years and years. People like Bill Sienkiewicz and Adam Hughes and Robert McGinnis, the very famous movie poster painter. I love watching what these artists do with the character that I created. Each of them interprets her in a slightly different way. Faye Dalton in the UK, Chris Wall is working on a cover. Andrea Camerini did one. So we've got a whole bunch of really wonderful covers coming, and we're even doing photo covers with a model named Kate Max, who is a big fan of our books. She is a passionate reader, loves mystery novels. And I was talking to her online and said, would you like to pose for some covers? So we're going to be doing some photo covers with her as well. It doesn't hurt that she's in the top 0.4% of OnlyFans sites. They'll be great covers.
That will be fantastic. I can't wait to see those. And I've been obviously working at Titan and at Forbidden Planet as I do, and working on more books as I do. One of the things I've been doing is tracking the progress of this series as it's being developed. And I personally, as a fan, I'm so excited for it. You know that one of the great things we have in common is I love Hard Case Crime. You created the imprint, and it's just been so wonderful seeing it come together. And it strikes me, Charles, that creating this project in a way is like the perfect summation of everything that you've achieved with Hard Case Crime, over the last decade.
Thank you for saying that. I always feel a little bit funny being a writer in the series as well as the editor, because people will say, well, how do you know you're doing a good job, right? How do you know you're putting something good in front of the readers? And that's something that I wrestled with in the early days, but I put out 2 novels that I wrote under a pseudonym, Richard Alias, back in 2004 and 2008. nervous about how they'd be received, and then they wound up getting award nominations, or in one case actually an award. So I felt, okay, I don't feel too self-indulgent. It doesn't feel like vanity publishing. Now with comic books, I've been a comic book fan all my life. I started reading Flash comics in 1979 with issue 275 when Iris got murdered. I still remember that issue very, very well. So if you came to my apartment, you'd see all sorts of stacks and boxes of comics. I'm a longtime comic fan, but this is the first time I've actually written one. And so I went to the people I know and work with in the business and trust, and whose opinion I trust, and I showed it to them. And I said, please be honest with me. Don't owe me anything. You do tell me the truth. And I showed it to Max Allan Collins, who created Road to Perdition and Ms. Tree. I showed it to Ed Brubaker, who of course is famous for not only his superhero work like Captain America, but Criminal. And I showed it to Dwayne Straczynski, who's a very old friend and did a comic for us once called Breakneck. And all three of them said, listen, I'm not telling you this because you're a friend. I really love this book. So I feel comfortable going out to the world and saying, you're probably not going to think this is terrible. You're probably going to think this is at least not terrible.
Well, if you've got Max Allan Collins is a mutual friend of ours. We both worked with him from an editorial capacity. Brubaker is somebody that I've interviewed many times and I'm a huge fan of, as you know. And, if you're getting the nod from both of those guys, you're talking about the two of the top crime writers who've ever dabbled in comics. And
absolutely. And I hope that people pick up their books as well. Max, of course, is doing crime comics through us. So if you buy Hardcase Crime Comics, you'll find Max's comics, his Mickey Splain, Mike Hammer, and his Quarry's War comic. Ed has not done a comic for us, but my God, his work is amazing. So if you haven't yet, pick up all the books he's done. He's just terrific.
Yeah, he's on a roll at the moment with the Reckless series that he's doing with Sean Phillips for I read the first one, and it's great stuff.
Absolutely blew me away, the first one.
I mean, they're the gold standard, I think, the team.
Absolutely.
So to be anointed by Ed, I think that's an amazing place to be. That's so lovely.
Yeah, let's hope that other people feel the same way. I'll tell you one other set of people who felt that way, and it's very exciting. Can't tell you a whole lot about it yet, but we are working on a TV adaptation. Now, everyone works on these things, and only a small fraction of TV deals that get announced actually turn into a TV series on the air. But this is with a set of producers who I've worked with before. We put a show on the air called Haven, which ran for 6 years on Sci-Fi in the United States, and then 185 territories around the world. The company's called Pillar Segan. They did The Dead Zone on TV and a number of other very well-known TV shows other than Haven. And we're working on a TV adaptation of Gun Honey in collaboration with a Malaysia-based TV production company that did the Asian edition of The Bridge, which was a just terrific crime show. So we don't know whether this is going to actually get produced or not, but we're very serious about it, and scripts are being written, so cross our fingers.
And the guys you're working with, as you say, have got a great pedigree. So you've pretty much loaded the bases in terms of they've got a history of success. So those are the kind of partners that you want. And of course, Charles, this has been a great year for you at Hardcase, because not only have you brought your own project to comic book fruition, but also you've had a tremendous success with the Stephen King novel later. Oh
yeah, that was great. Stephen King is an incredibly generous man. 16 years ago, he decided he wanted to write a book for Hardcase Crime and help us out by lending his support to the line. That was The Colorado Kid. He didn't owe us that. He certainly didn't owe us writing a second one 8 years later called Joyland, which was even more successful, and people very often listed on their list of their favorite Stephen King books. And then 8 years after that, he came back and wrote another one for us called Later, and I am beyond grateful for it. It's a terrific book. It was on bestseller lists for weeks and weeks. And that made 2021 a very special year for Hardcase Crime. But every year is special. In 2020, we had the first novel from filmmaker Brian De Palma. In 2022, we have a brand new, never before published novel by the late Donald E. Westlake. Every year we dig up something fun, fun and interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. And in fact, you touched upon, again, our friend Max Allan Collins. I really love and I've been talking to Max for this show recently, actually. I really love the series of repackaged Nolan novels that you've put out,
yeah.
with those amazing Lee Van Cleef-esque covers. I think they're phenomenal.
One of the running jokes in the Nolan novels is that Nolan looks like Lee Van Cleef. So when the painter set about painting the covers, I think he was inspired by that and came up with a face for Nolan that looked a little like Lee Van Cleef. And then, of course, everyone on Twitter said, "Oh, it's Lee Van Cleef." No, it's someone who looks like Lee Van Cleef. It's not Lee Van Cleef at all. But I suppose men with craggy faces and widow's peaks look all the same, right? but no, those are great fun. We're putting out the old Nolan books. We did a new Nolan book a year ago called Skim Deep, brand new, first new Nolan in 30 years. And now we're bringing out all the old Nolan books to a volume. So the first was called Two for the Money. Second was called Double Down, and we've got 2 more coming. So you cannot have a better value than 2 Nolan novels in 1 binding. Great fun. These are short novels, but delicious. And yeah, anyone who loves Max's work is going to really enjoy these books.
It's really beautiful stuff. And to close out about Gun Honey, I think any noir fan, any comic book fan is going to get, any crime fan is going to get a real treat with this book. And it's a beautiful script from Charles, and it's beautiful artwork from your artist. And as I say, you can check out the art and you can pre-order the book, first issue, from the links attached to this conversation. And well done, mate. It's just a brilliant comics debut, I think.
I'm so excited about it. Can't wait to see what Gun Honey Part 2 is going to look like.
Right on. I can't wait either. Thanks for joining me today, brother. You take care, and I'll see you soon.
Too.
Thanks, Charles. All the best. Bye-bye. If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.